y'all, and I'm gonna stream this to my LinkedIn.
Do it.
All right, we're live on America's most followed Mismo team member.
Highest follows. Just because Detroit has never been to the Super Bowl, Brock, does not mean that this isn't the year. This is the year.
I thought I was gonna have to be talking smack with my Cincinnati friends this week. I didn't know it was gonna expand.
I heard Burrow might be back.
Of course, I dropped him from my fantasy team like 3 weeks ago.
Of course.
Well, I won't be attending the game, but I've been to a couple lately. It's a fun year to be a Pats fan again. I know it's been really tough to have a couple of years without a Super Bowl.
Yeah. You know, it's you're like the Bears. It's like you guys have the second easiest schedule, you know, in the league, and you're pounding your chest over there.
We got the most quality wins. What are we supposed to do? Lose to the bad teams? Like you guys?
Well, this is where one of those areas where sports.
As long as we're on the topic, might as well.
There you go.
Oh, I like the old school Patriots too.
Yeah. This is like it. You know, sports is a lot like the mortgage industry, right? You always overestimate your wins. It's like, yeah, we do $10 billion a year, 10 billion. We do $12 billion a year.
Yeah, if you do the right run rate at the right moment. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
We're on pace. We're on pace.
Based on yesterday's volume between 2 and 4 p.m., my run rate projects.
Obviously Drake May's killing it, but I've seen some hilarious stats of how he's the only quarterback of all time to be like over a 72.3% completion rate and this high of a QBR and this many touchdowns or whatever. And even I could admit, like, okay, we don't need that type of next gen stat. Like
he's the real GOAT.
But
I'm trying to do the math. I'm trying to do the math. If UWM had a $4.5 billion lock day or whatever it was 10 days ago or 2 weeks ago, whatever that was, and you just did that,
all you have to do is that every day for a year.
20 days times 20 days in a month.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, we're doing, you know, we're gonna lock 90 billion a month.
Yeah, easy.
Matt would own the Patriots as well.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm not sure where Dr. Rick is.
So this is what it looks like to be, or feels like to be, part of the most watched 20 minutes in mortgage TV, huh?
On Fridays at 12.
Open for 25 minutes.
On Fridays at 12:30 is the key filter there.
You guys remember Must See TV, the NBC? Oh, yeah. And you had like the 9 p.m. slot, which was that's the star power, right?
Yep.
Think of that on Fridays. 1 p.m. Eastern is the 9 p.m. of Thursday night.
Well, we're a soft lead-in then, is what you're saying.
This is like crosstalk.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing it's like when the Law and Order does the crossover with, I don't even know what show anymore, but yeah, we're trying to do. Well, I guess one of the things, Brian, that this brings up is, as you assume this new role at Mismo, one of the things I think people asked you about all the time was your marketing strategy at FinLocker, which was you. That was you. That was the marketing strategy at FinLocker. Now, being at Mismo, I guess my first question is like, what's that change for you, if anything, and how are you interacting with industry different, making the switch?
Yeah, so I'll go back to FinLocker, and while I was, the voice and for better or worse, the face to the market for FinLocker, it was the product and the platform and the technology that made it easy to do what I did, honestly.
Yep.
Because I think you guys know me pretty well. I'm pretty authentic, and I'm not going to, BS people. And so I was, and still am, very bullish on the company, the platform, the technology, the solution that FinLocker has engineered. So it made it easy to do what I did, and enjoyable. And I would say a lot of what I did to help FinLocker over the years is why I'm where I'm at today with Mismo. I think of the process that I went through to get to this role, and the process that the Mismo board went through to ultimately, choose me for the role, it was building that muscle that I had to build at a startup with limited resources, and be able to do what I did. And so it's taken those attributes, taken that muscle that I developed and that skill set, and now applying it to something that's been around for 25 years that is immensely important and valuable to the entire ecosystem, but yet is widely understood, if that's like a word.
Understood. Yeah, I like.
By the way, I have a lot of respect for Dr. Rick.
You do.
He's honoring the restraining order very well by not showing up here. So.
I was going to say, I got a lot of things for him, but I don't know about respect. But
it sounds like he took it one step too far this time, Brian. You had to step in.
It happens. It happens.
It's nice to know that he follows some rules.
Yeah. So Jeremy, to your point, it's like, October 15th was my last official day with FinLocker. October 16th was my first official day with Mismo. And, I'd already been thinking about the messaging and the value prop and how I wanted to communicate that. And then before we went live, we were talking a little bit about, day 3 for me in the role was being dropped into Las Vegas at NBA Annual. And
you were looking a little tired out there.
Yeah. Well, that's the first time I've attended that conference and not been out in the hallways. And, I was in a lot of the rooms, in a lot of the committee meetings, which I, wouldn't have been in the past.
Sure.
And I was telling Jeremy, the level of effort that goes into that particular event, I always knew it was high, but I never appreciated it until I was behind the curtain and could see and feel the energy and what the people of NBA do to put that thing on. It's amazing, frankly. And a lot of the people that are doing the work, behind the scenes end up on a stage, like 2 hours later. So it's pretty remarkable. Dr. Rick.
I apologize. I had a meeting that went long and I was trying to get away. So I sincerely apologize, Brian. Certainly not any disrespect to you, and I apologize to Detroit and Brock. But I'm glad you're on.
Yeah, glad to be here.
All we do is win, so it's fine, man. We're good. We didn't worry too much about it.
Are you talking about the Patriots? All we do is win. Oh
no, that's why Brock put the hat on.
That was not the
line. I wasn't starting my call in full.
This is like a
retro Patriots regalia, but I had it close enough that I could toss it on. Yeah.
Just think of it like a stock, Rick. There's overinflated stock that you're trying to get out of before it falls, and then there's future value. And so we're the future value stock, and so you got to get in now. If you're already in on Boston stock, sell high because this is it.
That's what the Celtics owners did, right?
Yeah, seems like it.
Sadly. How about the Pistons, guys? Anybody paying attention to the Pistons?
Right on. Yeah,
exactly. So have you guys gotten into Mismo?
Captain Cade.
We just started. Yeah.
We've been a little preoccupied with sports, but Brian was getting into it. Yeah.
Here's where we were. Understood.
Understood. That's Mismo.
Mismo is understood, which I think it sounded to me like that was actually part of the appeal, Brian. I don't know if that you meant that, but it's sort of in your answer, you said like that's kind of what attracted me to the role was like your ability to help make it understood. So what's that? Am I right on that? And like, what's that?
Yeah, it definitely is part of the equation. I've been talking to people about, where my own level of understanding of Mismo was 6 months ago. And, I joke, but it's not really a joke that I knew the letters MISMO, and I knew a couple of the letters actually stood for, but I absent of a handful of standards, that any of us can rattle off, I had no appreciation for the scale, scope, depth, and breadth of the standards that exist. And what I really didn't have an appreciation for was the community that is Mismo, because Mismo itself as an organization, there's 6 of us. There's 6 full-time Mismo staff members, right, myself included. And then we've got, you know, some contract consultants that help us with facilitating the various problems that Mismo goes about to solve for. But the power of Mismo is the community that is Mismo. It's the hundreds of volunteers that come from industry. And I say volunteers because they literally are giving up their time, they're sharing their expertise to come to a table and collaborate, sometimes with competitors, just to solve big problems for industry. And that, when I started to really dig in and understand that became inspiring. And, you know, I got to a place in my head where, as I thought about my career, and I'm probably closer to the end of mine than Brock is to the beginning of his, we'll just say, you know, being able to have an opportunity
you're going to hear about that one, Brian. I've been hearing about that for 2 years, for God's sakes. But yeah, you're going to hear about that one.
Yeah.
You know, just so to be reminded, Brock's been in the business for at least 25 years. So just you know, he was just in the vault of Rocket for so many years.
Good skincare, yeah. It's like
I mean, I remember when my hair was that color too. So
come out 60 years later. No, that makes sense, Brian. Yeah, I mean, I'd always heard a lot about it on the real estate side with like Rezo, right? Yeah. Like there's thousands of volunteers in the real estate industry, and it's this huge thing that's very present and, you know, imperfect, of course, but like was always something that was talked about. I never, and I think in the mortgage industry, to my experience, which is less than Dr. Rick's allegedly, I hadn't heard too much about it. So it's exciting to hear about it. So what are some of the things you're sinking your teeth into like right away?
Yeah, there's a theme that I've been talking about, the 3 A's: awareness, adoption, alignment. You all are contributing to the first A, awareness, by giving me, you know, the opportunity to come on here and talk to your audience that does make up the most watched 20 minutes in Friday mortgage TV.
30 Eastern.
Well, people are towards the last 10 minutes of the first 30 minutes, they're getting warmed up for the last word. So we already know that. So awareness, you know, raising the level of awareness of Mismo is a big piece of this. And part of that is to uncover and share where Mismo creates value, and not just today, but for the last 25 years. Adoption, you know, standards mean nothing if they're not adopted and not adopted at scale. And so that's a big area that we are focused on, is to drive adoption of current standards. But as we think about new standards that get created when problems are brought to the organization, before we even, you know, assemble a work group, we need to better understand what does good look like? What does success look like from an adoption perspective? And then get commitment before we do the work that if we build it, they will come, right? And then the third is around alignment. And alignment is, there's a couple of areas that I think about alignment. One is between, you know, the value of Mismo and the standards it creates, and then the investment that the industry makes into Mismo. The value needs to exceed that investment, right? And so we need to make sure that we're aligning the output, the work, the results with the investment that lenders and non-lenders make into the organization. But another piece of alignment that, again, I didn't recognize this until I was into it here for the last 5 or 6 weeks, is there a lot of the problems that get brought to Mismo to solve, when the team gets assembled that's going to do the work, it's lenders, it's the service providers, it's technology providers, but it's also regulators and the GSEs that are all sitting at the same table creating the solution together. And to me, that's a big piece that creates that alignment in a different way that then helps drive adoption, which lifts awareness. And now you have the flywheel effect kind of going on there.
So can you elaborate just on what that investment is from a lender's perspective, and then what should they get from it? What kind of protection, just for the sake of the audience and just for the sake of those who listen to this later? Yeah, it's kind of, because Mismo is one of those ephemeral kind of organizations that everyone hears about, And just like Brock, I mean, there's a lot of folks in the last 15 years that haven't really understood its utility. And I probably wouldn't, if I didn't know Harry Gardner, like I probably wouldn't, it's not something that I run across every single day. Right. So, so how would you describe the investment that a lenders incur and what the benefit is?
Sure. So for the lender, there's a lender membership to Mismo, and then there's a non-lender. So think about all the service providers and vendors, right? On the non-lender side, it's pretty straightforward. There's, your typical association membership fee, and then those non-lenders, those vendors become members of Mismo and then get benefit from that membership in the form of, seats at the table when problems are brought in and we're seeking to build solutions, but also access to the standards to actually utilize when they're building out product or enhancing their own platform. So that's the non-lender side. On the lender side, there's this innovation investment fee, IIF. And the IIF, I believe, has been around for about 4 years now. Essentially, every loan that a lender closes that's registered through MERS is assessed a 75-cent IIF. So 75 cents per loan is the IIF per lender. And so at the end of the calendar year, tally up the number of registered loans via MERS, and each lender is invoiced their share in the form of that IIF. Today, and I'll say that all caps, today, the payment of that IIF is voluntary by lenders. And the good news is, a strong percentage of the population of lenders actively funds and pays the IIF, recognizing the value they get out of that. So today, the IIF is voluntary. It's not likely going to be that way, at some point going forward. But Rick, to your point, what do I get as a lender for this 75 cents per loan fee, right? So I'll point to the U's, right? All the U's that are created under Fannie Freddie. Yeah. Those are all Mismo standards. And so the work done to create the URL, the IRLA and the UAD, and now the UAD 3.6 is all work done through the Mismo construct. Yeah. And so when I'm talking to lenders, I've been challenging the lenders to show me a loan that you manufactured in the last 12 months that did not have any Mismo, standards applied, if you will. So impossible, can't be done. Yeah. And then secondly, imagine your business as a lender today, absent any of these standards. What would your business look like today? How would you interact? How would your tech stack interact, absent these standards? And so, and that's, is a little squishy, I recognize. And so part of my challenge that I've given myself is to go out and find other very tangible values that get created through the Mismo process. Yeah. Yeah, no, one thing that made sense to me, just for those who still are trying to sort of put the pieces of the mortgage supply chain sort of together, is that obviously Mismo helps lenders integrate with all the players, the investors, the GSEs, the agencies, the vendors. So it kind of it lowers sort of that technical friction, right? Yeah. And it's especially important for servicers. Now, there's a smaller subset of servicers in the industry as a whole, just for the sake of data transfers, data exchange, due diligence, any kind of investor reporting. So it really becomes a capital market exercise, and sort of a way of establishing a broader credibility factor on the industry as a whole. It was kind of a way of sort of synergizing the roadmap. So now when we start talking about snap docs and different e-notes, e-closings, and all the analytics associated with that, like that closely aligns. Like Mismo not only preceded that, but Mismo sort of created an ecosystem for that even to come together. And then that roadmap, obviously, for Mismo has to sort of support it. So I mean, it's Mismo's a big deal. It's a really, really big deal. And
it's underappreciated, you know, in the technical sense, because without it, I think we'd be a decade off or a decade behind where we are, and that's scary by itself.
When I was at Stavvy, Brian, it was my responsibility to kind of explain it to non-mortgage industry engineers and product managers and designers. And it's funny, the thing that I ended up landing on was bananas. Bananas are 4011 in every single supermarket in the country, because 4011 is the produce code you need to make the supply chain work, to get them to your table.
I'm writing that down.
You have to build the shipping, you have to build the storage, you have to build the inventory piece in the back of the store, bringing it out front, getting it through the payment, the weighing and the thing that happens at the cashier. Listen to me, super technical, the thing that happens at the cashier. But 4011 is the sticker for bananas in every store across the country. If we're going to produce a mortgage, we got to get it from not existing to having all this data to existing as a product and deliver it. And it's honestly, it's a supply chain question. It's a manufacturing question. And so we need those codes. And those codes are the data fields of manufacturing a mortgage in a similar sense. So that's kind of what I landed on for non-industry folks. But I think it also underscores why this takes so long, to be honest, is when you introduce a new data field or a new data platform, nobody can build, integrate, or work together if you can't talk to each other.
Right.
If LTV is defined as something different in every system, then we joke about checking the checkers who check the checkers today. Imagine what it would be if we didn't have interoperability. So I think, Rick, you're right about the innovation that startups can come in and understand, okay, I can build to a standard. I know how to build to the standard now. Yeah. And even if you produce a totally new data point, theoretically, we could then map it. It gets added. And I think that's part of what helped me was, hey, we're not going to have innovation without it.
Don't be surprised if you see some marketing come from Mismo with bananas.
Good. Whatever I can do to help, Brian.
So what would you say to be the next 3 to 5 years? What are the major shifts, would you say, in mortgage that Mismo is going to sort of evolve either in parallel or will sort of direct? And I'm looking for AI, digital closings, blockchain, because there's it's kind of like before blockchain was blockchain, kind of Mismo was kind of it from in a very linear sense, right? Not in the three-dimensional sense that blockchain sort of establishes in its sort of third-party tokenization. But how would you describe that? That Mismo's relevance is it relevant at all? I mean, did it have its day, and it just needs to be sunsetted or something? What's the?
I hope not.
You know what I mean? Though, some people is there an argument to say that Mismo's not relevant, or are you saying, or do you believe that as time goes on, it becomes more relevant because of blockchain, because of AI, and because of e-notes and so on?
Yeah, I think I don't think it's lost its relevancy at all. I think there's actually a lot of momentum and things that are ahead that the industry needs to tackle. But I'll hit on AI real quick, and then I got to jump for another appointment. You guys know what it is. So AI is one of our top priorities, and it's in partnership with RESBOG, right? The Residential Board of Governors of MBA.
Yeah.
One of their top priorities as the governance body for MBA is to help frame the guardrails for the responsible use of AI in mortgage lending. And where Mismo plays a role in that is we have this body, this infrastructure, this discipline around forming work groups to go solve problems. And not to say RESBOG doesn't have it, but that's just not they're not necessarily there to do the work to solve the problem. They're there to identify and prioritize the things that need to be focused on for industry. and Mismo will be the partner in that. And so a great example of how that would work is just to look at the current initiative, the Mortgage Compliance Data Set, MCD. It's a data set that's in the comment period. It'll be published as the next new standard on December 4th. And the MCD, the Mortgage Compliance Data Set, came together with lenders at the table, and within those lenders, legal compliance experts, technology providers, LOS, et cetera, the GSEs, all the agencies and the cap markets downstream, and then the regulators. And so this standard was created, this MCD, and when fully adopted, will become what all the states use when they're requesting data from a lender to do their audit. And so absent a standard like the MCD, every lender, Rick, NFM, multi-state, 49 states, 48,
yeah.
49 states, you're subject to an inbound request from every state. We need this data in this format for your audit, right? Fast forward to adoption of MCD, NFM creates one set of data and shares it with their 48, 49 state regulators. To me, that is a real tangible value in that perhaps NFM doesn't need a full-time employee just to create data, just to create reports and react to requests from the state. That resource can be reallocated to something else within NFM. And so the same kind of thought processes around AI is having all the players at the table to establish what these responsible guardrails are for the use of AI, so that when it comes time to audit, a lender on how it's using AI, everyone knows what the rules are going in, and we're not so much in a gotcha.
Seems extremely beneficial to the tech company in that scenario where they can partner with X amount of different lenders with the same standards. Yeah, which is exactly how I always saw it work on the real estate data side earlier in my career. Yeah, that's awesome.
It also means, Brian, you're in for a whole bunch of AI. Look at you. I mean, you thought you heard about it a lot before this. You're going deep, man.
So is there some concept of a company, whether it's an AI company or a company like NewZip that integrates with, dozens of lenders and dozens of different systems those lenders have, that we'd be, Mismo certified or Mismo coded or something like that? Give us a gold star to put on my pitch deck if we do that work. Like, is there like a industry component like that, or is it more like?
There's certification. So, guys, I do have to jump. I'm sorry, but I appreciate the time here. Go Detroit. Looking forward to the next time we're all together somewhere.
Hey,
for sure, man.
Talk to you soon.
Yeah, talk to you later,
you guys.
Right on.
So does that just terminate Real Fridays, or a little bit early for us, guys? Sorry, I was a couple minutes late.
You put in a good 16 minutes.
Mismo was a really powerful. I mean, when did Mismo start? 2001 or something like that? Or it started a long time ago. And the guy who started it was Harry Gardner, who ended up working for the NBA, and he's still around. He still works.
He's ICE, right?
Yeah. No, I mean he's a real cornerstone figure of this business for sure. And
it seems like AI. It seems like AI is the next step. But I think Brock brought up another key point. We got to do a better job connecting it to real estate and title. Like, why would there be different? Why would there be different data standards? This is
that was my subsidiary question. Like, obviously, NewZip sits in the middle, so kind of goes without saying I'm thinking about that. But yeah, the real estate industry, like, it's like the biggest thing in the world is following the RESO standard. Every tech company has to do it that way. Every MLS, some of them try to do it different ways and get sued by NAR. It's wild. And
I think mortgage is like that, but just without the visibility of controversy. Yeah, I think it's just most vendors accommodate. I think the other thing is real estate's kind of like this too, but I feel a little bit more true for mortgage. We just have some really established vendors that, like, it's sort of taken for granted because they've been around so long. To Rick's point, they've been doing Mismo since it started, essentially. And so a lot of our core systems are just like, of course they do it because.
Yeah, and you wonder if everyone kind of got their got there anyway. Like the MISMO plumbing was already there, and the lender already uses MISMO coded terms, and so then maybe NewZip's using all MISMO standards with all our clients already because we built around what our lenders use, right?
Yeah.
But it's a good thing to pull up and think about. It's a good thing to pull up and compare notes on, especially when it's crossing between industry to title to e-closing to, you know.
I just have one final kind of comment, and then we can have our day. I know there's AI fatigue already. Like
Yeah.
I can sense it from people being like, "Oh, I have to hear about AI." We're gonna have to figure out a way to manage it because, you know, thinking through this week and what I've seen and demoed on AI, like, and hearing Brian talk about MISMO creating these standards, like, it's only gonna be 10 times more next year. So if you have AI fatigue, which I know we all do, it's just like it's gonna become. It's obsessive already.
Well, I think I modestly dispute that. I think right now we're still talking about AI as this like one thing. I think next year, 3 years from now, we'll stop saying AI and we'll start saying more specific terms, right? Like, you know, like that, like with like components of blockchain and tokenization are now like in lots of things, right? But people have, I noticed Rick was bringing that up too. Like people have fatigue talking about blockchain because it was something 7 years ago, or 5 years ago, everyone spoke about on every call. And then they kind of stopped speaking about it and just took the parts of it that worked, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and some of it never got taken. To some extent, the blockchain bubble popped a little bit, but obviously there were good ideas in there.
Yeah, don't tell Mike Cagney that.
No, I think that's a really good point, Brock. I think like really good point because like cloud computing, people probably got.
But yeah, I mean, from like my VC, like where I'm a scout investor for VC, you know, I've seen thousands of real estate on blockchain pitches, literally.
Yeah.
And
I guess I think
that's what I mean. I don't mean that as not useful components there.
I'm not anyone's
business, right? I'm saying you don't see that now. You don't see thousands of real estate startups with blockchain as their thesis.
Just because it's part of the infrastructure, not part of the sales pitch. But I think the thing I'm thinking more about is that whereas like that became infrastructure and we think AI largely will too, to a degree, I think the thing I was thinking about that was different is in this case, it doesn't just enable the work, it also does the work. And if you let it. And so the thing I've been thinking about is that, which is we went through an automation phase and it was essentially taking manual tasks and digitizing them, but they still sort of happened in the same way.
Yeah.
This is not
rules-based automation.
This is like
the same rule.
Work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's the only thing I keep coming back to, but I don't want to be part of the problem.
Well, I just think, take for example, we were both at the Lending Tree Summit 2 weeks ago. Like Total Expert pitched their new AI layer, right? Maybe that's how it goes, right? Every company has their AI features that are just part of the thing, right?
And then you evaluate.
Platforms have their AI layer. All the CRMs.
Then you evaluate the utility and the efficiency and the pickup as a result.
Yeah,
I agree in that everyone's tired of talking about AI. And it's all going to be about just show me what AI does. Yeah. Show me the efficiency. How much faster can we go? Because AI is just about fast quality. It's all about just fast quality. You know, are you getting like the accurate income statements, accurate deposits, accurate employment records? You know, are you getting the most accurate product for that particular consumer in the fastest way possible? And if you can't demonstrate that, just stop talking about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I may not be talking about the AI, talking about what it does. Yeah.
No.
Hopefully.
Good. Happy Friday, guys.
We are going to get really fatigued. Yeah.
Definitely happy Friday. Let the conference schedule, share doc that because I really want to get the next 12 months of conferences on one doc. Every single state. I'm going to populate all 50 state conferences if they have it, regional conferences, every conference we can. And then let's continue moving forward, guys. This is good stuff.
All right.
Yeah, send that back around.
And then you can send
where were you last night, Brock? We were on the phone at 3 a.m. Mike, Jeremy and I were on the phone till 3.
I try to get at least a couple hours of sleep. a night. I don't know what you guys are all doing.
We know you had your slippers on, your bathrobe by your bed. You know, you had ironed your clothes, your hoodie for the morning. Come on.
Yes, I'm wearing my finest hoodie today. How can you tell? Yeah, I actually I got drinks with an old business partner in Boston. Came home early and got some sleep.
I bet you start every morning reading the newspaper, like in your bathrobe, your legs crossed, smoking a cigarette, having a cup of coffee, and just looking at
a cigarette.
That's the most Bodwin. That's the most Bodwin thing you can envision.
I like the visual, but not quite. Not quite. No, it's jumping on my laptop. That's how I start. And I know Jeremy's about the same.
All right.
My phone is my laptop, I guess. Yeah.
Take care, guys.
Have a good
Friday.
Later.
Yeah.